What is up, everyone? Coffee Break is back with another video here, and this is the time where NFL teams are starting to get a little bit creative with trying to maximize their salary cap money by either restructuring guys' deals or anywhere where they can release players to save some money. I know that there's teams who release some players, but always say, we look to have this guy re-signed. And that's kind of what you're seeing here right now from NFL teams, because free agency actually starts next week. So guys is ramping up, is heating up. And so we expect a lot of moving pieces happening soon. Now, let's talk about some of the 49ers news that has popped up as of recently. You had cornerback Emmanuel Moseley sign a 2-year deal worth up to $10 million late this week. So there's one chip that has fallen. Emmanuel Moseley now being back with this secondary, which is a good starting piece. Now at first glance, 10 mil seems a little bit steep to me, but the wording, the phrasing was it could be up to 10 mil. So we'll wait to see how those details roll out with that contract. But, Emmanuel Moseley, he's a guy that can be in the starting rotation, right? He can be a starter. But the truth of the matter is the 49ers are still looking for an ideal 2-corner package here. Because, Emmanuel Moseley could be a nice starter, but ideally he's a nice backup, to be quite honest with you. But with this money coming in, I think the 49ers are expecting him to take on that role and be that starter. The 49ers still looking for that cornerstone corner there, kind of how Richard Sherman was for the last 3 years. But we talk about that. Emmanuel Moseley being back, that's always going to be a good sign. So we'll see what the 49ers do in free agency, if they want to maybe take it with a veteran or if they take it up in the draft. We'll see. Maybe they do both, but having Moseley back is a big deal. Then that leads me to Weston Richburg, center Weston Richburg, who we haven't really seen much of him in the past year and a half, and it seems like it's not going to change anytime soon. The 49ers recently restructured his deal. So, first of all, they saved some money. They saved about $7 million with that. But on the second hand, it's almost unfortunate, because Weston Richburg, man, he's a really good center when healthy. He was. He probably still is. But the truth of the matter is, the reports that came out say he may be retiring, and it just it's a bummer, because the 49ers were banking on Richburg being here for the longevity of his contract. But the injury may be worse than we thought. It's similar to a D Ford situation where you're just man, this guy might retire, and they're taking so much money off the cap. So for them to restructure that deal was kind of a big deal. Now the Niners moved up to $30 million in cap space, which that's another player, man. You're saving $7 million. That's another 1-year deal. You could get another corner with that, another backup corner. So maybe we'll get Witherspoon, who knows, but freeing up some cap space, very much needed. So the Niners just are itching closer. And maybe they use that money to sign Trent Williams, who, that leads me to the next topic of conversation here. Trent Williams, we've been talking about him for the past, 2 videos now. But, that's the priority. And the 49ers, well, there's been reports saying that the 49ers are trying to get a deal done before he, hits the open market, which is, this upcoming week. So if they don't get it done by this weekend, then he will be hitting the open market. Now, from a 49er standpoint, that makes sense. You don't want a guy going to the open market like that. But from a Trent Williams standpoint, you're just do I really want to do this now? Or I'm sure I can get more money in the open market. So I have My question marks with this getting done this weekend, I'd be surprised, to be quite honest with you, if Trent Williams really wants to make and get the most out of his next contract, which may be the next big one. Then I don't know why you would rush it if you're Trent Williams. So looking at it from that standpoint, I don't see the Niners trying to get that deal done unless they kind of give him what he's asking for, which is top left tackle money. And so I don't really see that happening, at least not right now. Maybe come Tuesday it happens, but we'll wait and see. So, priorities don't change for the 49ers, and I don't see it changing anytime soon, but that's kind of the piece that's waiting, that domino that's waiting to fall. If the 49ers sign Trent Williams, then they know where to take it from there. Maybe they, try to get another corner with the amount of money they'll have left. But, it's a waiting game pretty much for all the rest of the players in terms of, coming to the 49ers. It's if Williams' deal gets done or not, then, they'll be looking at somewhere else. But, that's kind of what was in the news as of recently. You also had Trey Lance's pro day, quarterback Trey Lance, who will, top prospect in this draft. I really love what I saw from Trey Lance. Everything kind of exploded off his hand. He looked smooth. He looked comfortable. And, we're talking about a guy who really didn't play this past year. And so it really would surprise me seeing how other guys kind of fared. Like, they have this guy behind Kellen Mond, right? They have this guy behind Mac Jones. I really love Mac Jones. I'd probably want to still watch more film on him, but man, it's hard. It's hard to pick them right now. There's some guys that can do it all. There's some guys that are more comfortable and can read defenses a little bit better, can retain information a little bit better than Trey Lance probably. But I have a hard time seeing Trey Lance not go in the first. If for some reason he's there at 12, and the Niners are there picking, I have a hard time passing on a Trey Lance at 12. So we'll have to weigh all the other options, of course. So I want to give everyone a fair shake, but from what I'm seeing from Trey Lance, he looks like he's still a raw product, but he's dynamic, man. He's dynamic and what a lot of 49er fans have been asking for. So he's the type of guy that if he falls to 12, I'd probably take it. I probably would, but we'll wait and see. I'm sure there's so many other things to get to in this short little podcast, but the truth of the matter is I kind of learned a lesson this offseason. My lesson is you can't believe everything that you read on Twitter. And there's been a lot of examples of this where the 49ers are on this guy. The 49ers, were in talks with this guy, Sam Darnold, always coming up. And then there was the report of a Teddy Bridgewater, that the 49ers had reached out to the Panthers about Teddy. Now they're saying it was false, that they never reached out. But this information that is so contradicting at times, you don't know who to believe, you don't know what to believe. So for that, I can't take anything, like, I have to take everything with a grain of salt pretty much, unless it's like written in stone, unless it's coming from like Schefter or Ian Rappaport. But man, like, I feel like sometimes the NFL just likes playing with us in terms of, oh, we're sending out this little report, right? We'll just send this fake information out to see how people will react and see, how that leverages us or how that, benefits them. And so that's how I feel. If the 49ers did reach out to Carolina, my whole thing about that was, they're not reaching out to get Teddy Bridgewater. Come on. Really? You would think the 49ers would go out for Teddy Bridgewater. Maybe as a backup role, but still, financially, it wouldn't make sense. I think what they try to do, now this is assuming if they did reach out, they wanted to know where Carolina stood with Teddy Bridgewater. Maybe they were drafting a quarterback. You try to get information from other teams that way. You know, if the Panthers are picking 8th and they're going for a quarterback, then if you make that call, they're probably like, what can you give us? You know, they're probably more lenient and trying to make a deal happen for Teddy. And that'll immediately let the 49ers know, okay, we can expect the Panthers to pick a quarterback in this draft, at least in the first round. So I think a lot of this, it may be true, but it doesn't hold a lot of weight, because that's what the NFL is. It's a game of who can hold your cards up close to your vest and play this poker game while, you know, you're trying to read other teams' poker face and trying to get a gauge to what they're trying to do in this draft. And, you know, it's just all a game, pretty much. It's a game within the game. And so I'm here for it. I mean, I like it. I like that strategy type of mentality coming into the off season. It's what I love to see as a fan too. But for people to react like, oh, Teddy Bridgewater, really? This front office doesn't know what they're doing, yada, yada, yada. I just think like you're missing the bigger picture. The same with Sam Darnold. I mean, do I really think the Niners are in on Sam Darnold? Again, this is how things fall in the draft. You might get a desperate team looking to trade for Jimmy Garoppolo in the draft. That's when you can get the most out of someone. When they're desperate, they missed on their guy, they need a quarterback, like New England, right? They did sign Cam Newton, but maybe they're looking for someone else in the draft. They're trying to move up. You can get the most draft picks for that because they're desperate in that situation. You're trying to get someone off of impulse. And Sam Darnold, you know, I do see the Jets drafting possibly another quarterback and moving on from Sam. But I find it difficult for the 49ers to trade for Sam Darnold and have him compete with Jimmy Garoppolo and have so much money on the bench. Whether it's Jimmy, whether it's Darnold, you'll have so much money sitting on the bench. And I find it very difficult to understand that logic, you know, especially when we have a smaller cap this year. This year you have to be even more greedy with guys that are just on the bench. And that's why I'm very curious to see how this D Ford situation kind of just unfolds. We don't know how it's going to end up, but we'll see. Anyways, guys, well, that was my lesson that I learned this off season. Don't believe everything you read on the internet until it's written in stone. And even if you hear that information, just play along with it. Go along with it until it is written in stone. But anyways, guys, let me hear from you. What are your thoughts on the Emmanuel Moseley signing? What are your thoughts on Weston Richburg's possibly retiring but restructured deal? Trent Williams, you think he'll be signed before the Niners open up free agency? And Trey Lance looked really good. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one. Peace.